Hello, hello, good afternoon. How is it going, everybody? If you can hear me, type loud and clear in the chat box. Let me just check, okay? All right, the audio is working. Hello, good afternoon. This is Eunice Tam, coming live from Singapore. I'm the director and founder of JPS Consultancy Firm, a boutique business consultancy firm where we help clients to grow their business, start their business, grow their businesses. And we share regular sessions like this to share on business tips and how you can take your business to the next level, right? So we have been helping many clients to grow their businesses from where they are to where they want to go. And we host regular business sessions like this to share real recurring problems faced by many business owners. So let us know where you are watching this from. Are you watching this from Singapore or overseas? And are you working from home? And or are you working from office? If you are watching this from overseas, where are you watching from? What time zone is it? So just let us know what's going on, and or maybe you just had your lunch, or you just use your breakfast, or you're going for your exercise. Just let us know in the comments box what's going on, right? We want to keep this as engaging and interactive as possible. Right, so I was saying, right, we host regular business sessions like this to share real recurring problems faced by many business owners, and we share solutions that I have learned from others and my personal experience. And most important of all, these solutions, they work, right? And usually because of limited time and attention span, we have so much to attend to these days, I will usually share the main gist of the topic in sessions like this. So let's jump into today's topic. I like to start my session on time. Right. Today's topic is very, very important. You can say that it's a continuation of my previous video. In my previous video, I talk about why is it important to choose a target market to focus on and the 9 factors to consider when choosing your target market. So you can go and check it out. And once you have chosen your target market, the next part of the equation is to ask the client this question: what's your problem? Okay, you don't really need to ask in such a mafia gangster way to your clients, right? Okay, but seriously, you do need to find out the answer to that question. Very, very crucial, absolutely critical for you to know what is their problem that they are facing and they are trying to solve. Because if you do not know what's their problems, how are you going to add value to them? Right? Remember, business is about adding value in exchange for monetary rewards. And you add value by solving their problems, not adding onto their problems. And you are either part of the solution or not. Worse, you might be part of the problems. So make sure you are not, okay? And I always live by this principle that there are no problems in this world, only solutions that we have not yet found. And you are the solution to their problems. And most of the time, people don't mind paying. They just don't like to pay for something that is not useful to them. I mean, think about it for yourself. Do you like to pay for something that is not useful to yourself? Have you ever subscribed to something only to find out that, later on it's not useful to you, or, you unsub later on because there's no value to yourself, right? And so today we are going to talk about problems, both with your target market and with you. If you are thinking of switching this off at this point of time, don't. Stay on, or you're going to miss out something very, very precious, and it might just bring your business to the next level. Right, let's jump right into it. Now, first and foremost, what is their problem? What is the problem that your client is facing at the moment? To solve a problem, you must first know what's the problem, whether the problem is with them or with you, right? And I'm going to use a tree or a plant as an example, right? So, and the problem, right, can usually come in two levels. It's either superficial level or there's an underlying level, right? So if you think about a tree or plant, right? On a superficial level, right? If a plant is not growing, people look is the superficial level will be talking about anything above soil level or what you can see an external environment. So when the plant is not growing well, it's not bearing fruit, then a lot of people look at, oh, the environment is not good, your fertilizer and this and that, right? In business, it's the same. Some people, they look at the external environment, they do a video, a lot of video marketing going on now. So they look at, oh, the video, you need to have good pictures, good sound, good editing, and, all these things, good storyboard, all these are important, right? So you need to see whether the problem is at this superficial level or they are at the underlying level. Okay, when I say underlying, in terms of a plant, it will be under the ground. It's unseen, and in terms of human beings, it's actually internal, or in terms of business, it's internal. So it could be fears, right? F-E-A-R-S, right? It can be something that they are afraid of. So you need to see what is the problem that they are facing. Sometimes they don't tell you straight. They will tell you on the superficial side. They will tell you, oh, I don't have enough sales. Oh, I need to, if you are interior designer, I want to decorate, I want to have an interior, I want to design my house and all that. So that's the superficial level kind of problems that your clients tell you. But there are also underlying problems that you need to sometimes dig out. Sometimes they may not tell you, but it is the underlying problems that you need to resolve. Right, and one example of this is that one country that is very good in doing this, right, when they address the problems in terms of underlying level is if you look at Thai advertisements, they are always talking about something ordinary and everyday affair, and then they have a punchline to link to the product or services. Right? They are actually addressing something underlying, something that is more fundamental, something that is unseen, and then they present it they present it in such a way that their product and services is the solution to the problem, right? So sometimes a lot of people, they want to resolve the problem on a superficial level, meaning they look at, my sales is not good, so I cut price, right? And I compete on price. But actually the underlying, the problem is on the underlying level whereby it's not about your pricing, it's about your product that is not good enough, for example, right? So you need to look at this and not just resolve the issue on the superficial level. Yes, right. Now, in terms of problems, there are also two categories of problems that I classified. One is the logical problems, whereby, if we go into your left brain and, everything about it's a logical problems in terms of, what's the numbers, what should be done. It's very task oriented, and it's very numbered. It's a very numbered, very quantitative kind of problems. Another problem that is more crucial is actually the emotional problem. And this usually is the underlying problem that I mentioned before, right? And again, using Thai advertisements, they are very good in addressing these emotional issues. Because very often, right, we look at, it's a logical issue. We look at problem in a very logical manner, whereby, I got this problem, I solved this. It's like you have a headache and you use Panadol, but the emotional issue is that you are stressed out, you're worried, or you're scared. So it caused and it manifested it into a headache, something external, something outside, something that can be seen. So you need to look at your problems in terms of whether it's a logical issue or it's an emotional issue. Right? A lot of people look at this and they solve it in a very left brain and very logical manner, in the sense that, my clients have this issue, I solve this issue. No, you need to look at the emotional issue as well. And very often it's the emotional issue that is causing and manifesting into the what you can see in the physical environment. Yes, right. And I won't go too much into this because actually it's quite, if you really look into this, right, it's quite obvious in that sense. Next, there is also another thing I want to touch on is the two outcomes of a problem. Now, there are usually when you solve a problem, there are two outcomes that anybody is trying to achieve, right? Usually it may come down to these two outcomes. One is that you cut pain, right? You help your product and services should be able to help your clients to cut some kind of pain. For example, the time they are spending too much time resolving an issue, resolving the delivery of their products or of their own fulfillment, or they are, for example, spending too much money or the expenses extremely high. So you are trying to help them to cut some kind of pain. Your product and services can help others to cut pain, right? Or maybe your clients is facing some kind of hassle. It's really hard. You have to press this button. You have to click 10 buttons before you get to the final stage, right? And for example, you are providing IT solution, and you can cut from 10 buttons to 3 buttons. So in that sense, you save them the hassle. Or maybe you're providing a HR solution whereby now, when a staff want to apply leave, want to see or their salary or their commission, you have to your clients are currently, they have to submit all these papers, they have to do this, check, and all that. So if you are providing a HR solution which can save them the hassle, you're cutting their pain. Now, another example of pain is boredom. So sometimes it's too boring. Your clients, the issue is, they're facing the problem that is they're too bored. There's nothing to, their work is too bored and all that. And this is very prevalent in B2C. Right, and for event company, for people who are doing entertainment, that's what you are trying to do, right? You're cutting the pain or boredom, right? And other examples would also be like lack of leads and maybe technology issue, right? People, like we coined this term called technosaurus, right? Technology and dinosaur. So if people like me, sometimes I self-proclaim IT illiterate. So what I do is that sometimes IT is really, really hard for me. Facing people, talking to thousands of people are very easy for me. But when it comes to IT, it's really, as in technology, it's really hard for me to catch on. I take a longer time to learn how to get the hang of it. Right. So if someone come to me with a very simple IT solution where I only click, okay, and so that naturally I will buy from that person, right? So you need to ask yourself, your product or services, are you cutting pain for other people? Are you trying to help people to get rid of pain in their lives, right? And or are you, the second outcome of problems that you want to resolve is that you or rather is to gain pleasure or happiness, right? Right. So for some people, they don't have the problem is not that there's some kind of pain that they're going through. Money is not an issue for them. For example, time is not an issue to them. But what happens is that they want fun, they want enjoyment in their life, and sometimes they want prestige, they want status, and they want to increase their sales. So it's a gain or some kind of pleasure and happiness to them. So ask yourself, right, if you are not cutting pain from your cut, if your client is not facing some kind of pain, then they want to gain some kind of pleasure or happiness. They want to increase their level of satisfaction. Is your product and services helping them to do so, right? You need to satisfy one or the other. If it's not, then you will find that you will not be able to close that sales. So, for example, recently, right, I signed up for some soap making classes, right? I've been pulled by my friend to learn how to do soap making, right? So what happened is that it's not really a pain for me in that sense. Oh, maybe it's just a little bit because I have sensitive skin, right? So I learned to do handmade soap, natural handmade soap. So cut a little bit of pain because I have sensitive skin, I get itchy, I don't like the shower cream and everything that is available outside because there's a lot of chemicals and I want to help the environment. But more importantly, I signed up for that course because it's actually helping me to increase my level of happiness in the sense that it's actually because of my friends. I know we come together, we have fun, it was an enjoyable session. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it, right? I wouldn't, in a million years, I wouldn't want to come out of my schedule to learn how to do this. So that is an example of helping your clients to gain pleasure or happiness. In that situation, in that example, that service provider is helping me to gain happiness, right? So you need to ask yourself, is your product or services helping people to cut pain or gain pleasure or happiness? Yes? Right, next. This is the secret ingredient that is so obvious, yet most people, most businesses neglect this secret ingredient or overlook this, right? And actually, it's not really secret. So once I reveal this, right, you will be like, huh? I thought it's quite obvious in that sense. It is so obvious that we overlook it, right? And that secret ingredient is communicate how your product or services can solve their problems. You always remember your product or services must solve their problems, right? Otherwise, it's useless. Like to your clients, that's why they won't buy. They won't buy your product or services because you are not solving their problems. Why should they buy your products or services? That's why I call this the secret ingredients, right? And if you notice, there are two parts to this, right? It's the communication. First part is the communication part, and the second part is actually how your product or services solve their problems, right? Not your problem, their problem, yeah, your client's problem. So when it comes to this, right, I want to share the 3 common mistakes most businesses make. I learned this from the hard way, and I'm always reminding myself every day not to repeat these mistakes because it's just so easy to make them if we are not careful, right? The first mistake is wrong target in the first place. You may be laughing, right? It's like so obvious. You should be targeting at the right target market in the first place. Yeah. It's so common sense, but common sense is not so common these days, right? So, for example, you're selling Wagyu beef, or the best sirloin beef, whatever beef you're selling how good this beef is, right? But not realizing you are talking to a vegetarian. Yeah, it really had happened. This is a real example, right? And this mistake can take in different shapes and forms. For example, if you are selling a high ticket item, but you're reaching out to someone who is not willing or cannot afford your price tag, right? Another example is that if you are a teacher or trainer or coach, like a music teacher, singing coach, your skill set is the high level stuff, yet you are reaching out to the beginners. So if you refer to my previous video, we talk about what level of appetite are they, whether are they at the beginner or the intermediate or expert level. So I remember taking up this guitar course, right? And this teacher is a very, very good guitarist. He played, on platforms and stages, and it's so wonderful. And he was teaching all of us, right? Anyway, it's actually a free workshop by the church. So we were trying to learn how to do worship and all, right? And he was going on about, okay, you just do this, and he was going on. And to him, it's so easy. But to us, we are beginners. We don't even know what is chord A and all those things. We're learning the basic chords. So in that sense, right, it's actually a mismatch of the target market in that sense, right? So you got to ask yourself, are you providing a high level of knowledge or products or services, but you're targeting at the beginners or the people who are slightly at the low income side, and they cannot, as much as they want to, they cannot afford your price tag, right? Now, so the solution to this, right, is to be very clear in who is your target market. So it's very crucial. Just go and watch the other video where I go into more details on the 9 factors to consider when choosing your target market. Absolutely very, very crucial. This is the very first step. If you get this wrong, the rest of your journey is wrong. Yes? Right. Let's go on to mistake number 2. Right. Mistake number 2 is focusing only on how good is your product or services. Now, for this mistake, you got your target market correct. It's different from the first one, right? This time around, you got your target market correct. So you are talking to a beef lover now. You're not a vegetarian, yes? Assuming you're still selling beef, right? And hold on. Okay, and but the mistake you're making here is that you keep telling you how good you are and not how good your product or services is for them. Remember, it's always for them. Imagine I keep telling you about me myself, how good I am, and how how many certificates I have, how high level I am, and all that. You get bored. You just check out within 3 seconds, right? And so, for example, if you keep telling me how tender your beef is, how humane the cows brew, how healthy is that diet, all the certifications that you have received, and how trustworthy your company is, etc., etc. Right? On the other end of the stick, for example, you are selling me some cooking appliances and say that this is the cheapest in town, how light it is, how there's only limited stock, etc. Or maybe you are an interior designer, right? I keep using interior designer today because I just had a catch up with my interior designer friends slash clients, and we're talking about her business, how to grow her business. And so for example, one of the mistakes I commonly saw in many interior designer is that you show your potential client your whole portfolio and all these beautiful designs, and you drop names that you have done for in the past, you have done for so and all those things and all that, and not for a moment you stop to relate to my situation, to client situation, how to my situation or how it will benefit me. Have you stopped and relate your product and services to your clients' situation, how your product or services will benefit your client? Remember, just by the last 3 examples, I did not even stop to consider the client. I think, if I go on and on like this, you will just check out, right? So the solution to this is that it's not about them. It's about them, not about you, right? Okay, always remember it's about them, not about you, right? It is important. Like you might be asking, you mean it's not important for me to tell them? I mean, surely they want to know, who are they dealing with and things like that. Yes, it is important to tell them your credentials to build their confidence in you, but you need to link it to their situations. And the keyword is link, right? You cannot take it that once they know how good your product or services is, and they can automatically apply to their situation, right? It is more powerful when you spell out the benefits that they are going to receive for themselves when they use your product or services. So for example, if you are selling a product, let's say we use an auto robot vacuum cleaner. These days it's quite common, right? Okay, don't just tell me the size, right? You are trying to sell me the auto robot vacuum cleaner. Don't just tell me the size is 20 cm by 20 cm and it's less than 1 kilo. Instead, tell me that it's so small and light that it can fit into a lady's handbag and can even easily be carried around. So it's very portable and only take up very small storage in my house. Obviously, I won't be carrying it in my bag every day, but it's an illustration to tell me how light and small it is. To be honest, the only reason why I might be remotely interested in the size and weight of the cleaner is because I want to know whether will it bring me the convenience or will it be more cumbersome for me to use it. And for example, if you are selling a service, say a professional service, or you are a trainer or teacher of some sort, don't just sell how good you are, but focus on what are the benefits to your clients when they engage your services. For example, when they engage your services, what they receive is the benefits to them is peace of mind, right? Things will get done, and the benefits to them is the efficiency. Benefits to them is the effectiveness. Benefits to them is that things they can trust you, that things will happen. There's no delay. You will make it happen. Consider it done. That kind of stuff. So always emphasize what is the benefits to them. Right? You must be able to communicate how or why they would benefit from your product or services, and not just how good your product or services is. And this mistake number 2 is also linked very closely to mistake number 3, which is not finding out their concerns first. Right, a lot of people, many people, right, make the mistake of jumping the gun and start rattling how good they are or how good their products or services are, as I mentioned in my previous point. Yes, and you did not take the time to find out what is your target market's concerns. Now, going back to our beef example, you could be telling me the best beef. Can you tell I'm actually quite a beef lover? Okay, all my vegetarian listeners, don't shoot me, okay? Right. So you could be selling me the best beef, but my immediate concern is that can I afford it? Because you're selling something premium to me. And this linked to all my previous point as well. You know, my underlying concerns, my emotional issue, whether, you know, am I going to afford it? Am I going to be able to, you know, have a lose my will I be embarrassed if I tell you I cannot afford it, right? And you could be selling me the most affordable frying pan. Going back to the example of electrical household appliances earlier on, you could be selling me the most affordable frying pan. But my concern is that safe? Right? You could be the interior designer who has a great portfolio, but your client's concern is that all your designs are very good for married couple without kids, but she has 3 young kids, and her top priority is her children and not their lifestyle. So obviously, you know, a household design, interior design for a young couple with no children and a couple with 3 young children, right, it's going to be very different, because after all, children, you know, most often than not, the parents will be concerned about their safety. You know, young children, they get knocked over, you know, they hit the table. It's very common that they fall down and things like that. So the concerns are very different, right? Now, if you don't find out their concerns, they will switch off and they won't buy in with your idea. They won't pay for your products or services. You can pitch till the cows come home and you still can't close them. And you wonder why. And the solution? Simple, right? Ask. Yes, you need to ask, right? Ask quality questions and ask them, right? I'll have a conversation with them to see what is their concern and find out what is their priorities and find out what keeps them up at night. If those are really very serious problems, you need to ask and not just start rattling how good you are. Yes, right? So in summary, right, the correct sequence, right, is this. You must first get the right target market, right? Go and watch my previous video on the 9 factors when identifying your target market. Now, once you've got the right target market, find out their problems and concerns, address their concerns, and show them how your products and services can help to solve their problems, right? Remember, you need to relate it back to them. Yeah? Okay. And remember, concerns can be logical, can be emotional. Just look at all the amazing Thai commercials in the recent years. Right. I keep mentioning about Thai commercial because I think they have really done a very good job. And in fact, not so long ago, there was a documentary done on the Thai commercial market, about how they have emerged, how they have, create a storm in the industry, and everyone almost without fear, right? Everyone who watched their commercial is just being blown away. So they really address concerns, they address the underlying problems, they address the emotional issues. A lot of things they are just linked, and they link the product and services to the problems of the target audience, right? So you just go and look at any Thai commercials. I have not seen a very bad one yet, right? Okay, so what's the point of asking questions or having a conversation, right? And there are 3 points to note when you reach out your target market, yeah, right? So you want to find out their likes and dislikes. Do they like functionality or luxury? Do they so for functionality, for example, we use telco package, right? In the past, when you sign up for a mobile plan with a telco company, whatever country you are in, they used to use SMS or calling time as a lure, right? They give you X number of SMS, they give you free calling time, and if you sign up their package and all that. But now these are all almost useless, right? But now the more important thing people are looking at is the data plan. How much data you are going to give to me, because we are not in a different era. We are used a lot of internet time. We don't use so much SMS anymore. We don't call people anymore. You will notice a lot of the package, they are saying that unlimited SMS, unlimited calling time. Now, let me ask you, is that going to make you sign a package with any of the telco if they say, oh, I give you unlimited SMS, unlimited calling time? No, not really, because these days we use apps. We seldom use SMS. We seldom call people these days, right? And even if we do, there are free WhatsApp, free messaging, free calling time, video calling, right? So it's no longer valid anymore. It's no longer a good deal, right? And it's not I don't have a problem with messaging anymore or SMS anymore, right? But now my problem as a consumer is that it's my data. Do I have enough data so that I can access the internet at any time I want, at any amount that I want, right? And I won't run out of my data, and I don't have to pay extra. So you need to look at it, whether is it so what is the thing that your consumers are looking at these days? Now, sometimes consumers, your clients, your target audience could be looking at luxury. So for example, when you are talking about luxury, people who look at luxury, they don't really talk about affordability. Now, the focus should be on how relaxed the person can be, your target audience can be, how pampered they will be, how convenient it can be, how efficient you can be, you pay a premium. That's why if you look at airline, right, it's a very, very common example in the airline, because you have your business class, you have a first class where they don't have to queue up, and they spend very little time on waiting time, and the environment they have is all very relaxing, very pampering, very luxurious. They have a lot of leg room space. They lie down instead of economy class that we squeeze. We still have decent, it's still comfortable, but compared to first class and business class, right? So you need to look at what is your target audience, what are their likes and dislikes. Are they looking at functionality or luxury, right? So some of the likes, and another example would be, do they like fast and straight to the point, or do they like the relaxed manner, right? So if you are a service provider, for example, and you are serving B2B, that means business to business, you are serving other business owners or other corporations, and the target market is looking at you implementing the solution at lightning speed, then you better do so. So what I mean is that when your clients, because you're serving another business entity, right, another corporation, and corporation usually what they like is that, oh, you do things very fast. In fact, you provide the solution, you implement the solution yesterday, right? And you better be able to fulfill that. If you want to close that deal, if you want to keep them as your client, right? Because this is what they like. And once you cannot deliver, they dislike the fact that, I have to wait for 3 days to get an answer from you, and then they will switch service provider, right? So you need to have a conversation with them to find out what is the like and dislike. And sometimes you may be on the other end, whereby they are fed up, they are very frustrated with their current service provider, and they're looking for alternatives. So when you ask them, when you have a conversation with them, what you're asking, the question you're asking is, what is it that they dislike about the previous service provider? And that's where you can see that, oh, their concerns is this, their problem is this, they want the previous service provider is not providing response fast enough, right? That is the problem, and you can tell them how your solution can help them to solve this problem. Yes, right. Another thing that you are also looking at when you are asking questions or having conversation is to find out their dreams and nightmares, right? So for example, many dream to be successful, right? But success means different things to different people. So for some, success can mean $1 million, it can be status, for example, by by age 30, I want to be the CEO of a MNC, that kind of stuff. And or you have a lifestyle, able to travel freely, able to travel in style. I have time freedom in general to, that is to do whatever I want. It could also just be able to provide and protect the family, or success could mean happy family. Success could be having a healthy body, or mortgage free, debt free. But one of the concerns is that if I use your product or engage your services, would it, instead of turning my dreams to come true, would it turn into a nightmare instead? And the common nightmares could be loss of money, health, and relationship status, and fear of embarrassment, or seen as a loser. So meaning, okay, everyone has their dreams, but dreams can turn into nightmares. So what some of the concern is that if I engage your product or your services or use your product, will it instead of a dream come true, it become a nightmare that my worst nightmare come true, right? So you need to find out what is their dreams and what is their nightmare, and you need to make sure you address that concern, right? You really, really need to address that, because otherwise you will not be able to close that deal. Now, how do I help to cross that line? Personally, because because we do business consultancy, we help people to increase sales in terms of sales marketing, or help them with the back end, helping them with the compliance and all, or operations. So how I come across a lot of this, because they are really afraid to make that first move. And I see that in many other business owners as well. So personally, how do I cross that line? How do I help them to cross that line of they are hesitating, and bring them across and I close that deal, right? And one of the first thing I practice every day, for lack of better word, is that I use empathy, right? So first I will feel how they feel and acknowledge their fears, right? Everyone is scared of something, including myself. I'm also scared. Okay, when I engage a service provider, the video creation person, right? What if that video, after waiting for a week, and then the video turned out to be not what I want, not what I envisage. And many of us have this kind of fear as well. Now, sometimes I will verbalize their fears out, right? And just to verify, is that what you're afraid of? Sometimes, because it's a little bit sensitive, or they don't want to acknowledge it, I will just acknowledge inside me. Whatever it is, right, I will put myself in their shoes and ask myself, what am I afraid of? What am I, what is it that I'm looking for, and what am I afraid of, right? And then what I do is I present the various options, including the options of not doing anything, right? The option of doing nothing, or or keeping it status quo, right? And the respective risk and consequences. So I'll tell them, right? I give them the option. If you don't do anything, you have two or three options, right? Usually I just keep to maximum 3. So one option is that you don't do anything. After I present the solution to you, how I can help you and all, I will let them know, okay, you are not obliged to engage my services, but if you, or they just don't want to do anything. So option 1 is do nothing. And I would share with them the consequences and the risk involved. Not doing anything also will have risks, right? And the other option 2 would be, if you go with me, these are the options, these are the consequences, and yes, there may be certain risks. And we'll talk about risk in a minute. And I will tell them, right, these are the things. And sometimes it's all about risk management. And in everyday life, right, I always tell my clients, I always tell everybody, we are taking risks every day. It's not about not taking risks, it's about managing the risks, right? So I will share with them. And so sometimes what we do is that in terms of risk, we do what we call the risk reversal, if possible. Now you need to ask yourself whether this is possible or not. And this risk reversal, meaning that instead of them taking the risk, you assure them and that there is no risk on them, but the risk is on yourself, right? Yourself, yeah. So for example, a very common example would be money guarantee, right? Money back guarantee, right? So if you use this, you're not satisfied, then you can refund this. right? And e-commerce, if you buy something online, you know, there's always a refund policy and procedure that you can, you know, you can always return this if you are if you're not happy with it. So this is a form of risk reversal. And of course, another common example is a free trial, right? So you know, you're testing whether it's very common in the spa industry, you know, the industry of businesses whereby you get them to go through an experience. So obviously, you know, I don't know what your experience is, right? I don't know how good your massage is, how good your services is, how good your spa is. So very commonly, this kind of businesses, they use free trial, and even for software, right? It's very common for software as well. They use free trial, 40-day trial. You can test it out because these are all very experiential services whereby until you start using, you won't know whether you like it or not. So free trial helps people to cross that line, help your client to cross that line from considering to yes, I will try your services. So you need to think whether your businesses, is there a possibility for risk reversal to do this kind of thing. Now, these are two common examples. You can think of others, right? I acknowledge not all the businesses can do risk reversal, but you see what you can do, but just bear this in mind where it's possible, right? Okay, so once I empathy, I put myself in their shoes, I know what they're concerned with, I present the different options and the consequences and risks, I do risk reversal if possible. And what I do is the last step, I step back and let them decide for themselves. I give them space, right? So this is sometimes in closing, we call, in closing technique, we call it the pause as well, right? And you let them, when you give them space, right, to decide and digest what you have done, or at least that have been that works for me, and in the many of the business service industry, it works because they are digesting it, they are deciding themselves, and finally, when they come to the decision, they are the one who come to the decision to engage your services after all, right? And when they come with their eyes open, and they will not have any buyer's remorse. Right, one thing I have learned, right, don't have buyer's remorse, because I spend more time and energy solving that issue. Right, I used to just want to close the deal, you know, I will help them to cross the line and all. But then sometimes they have buyer's remorse, not because I'm not good, but because they realize that they didn't think it through. They didn't, you know, certain things they did not. It's something special in their situation, and they did not give it a thought, right? So they have some buyer's remorse after that, right? And so I learned that, you know, when I step back and let them decide for themselves, it's a more effective situation, and they will be a raving fan to me. And many of the clients have been coming back to me, and that's what I want. I want referrals, I want satisfying clients, and they refer more clients to me, they refer their friends to me, and more businesses to me, right? And so I don't have to keep chasing after new clients, right? Now, lastly, and you want to find out when you are asking questions or having a conversation with your target market, you want to find out where they hang out, how to find them, right? So for example, of course, Facebook is one of there are different platforms these days, right? Facebook, of course, is one of the most popular ones, you know, like this, Facebook Live, especially with the pandemic, everybody is going online, right? So every platform, it's not that which platform is good or not good. It's whether which platform is suitable for you, right? For you to reach out to your target market, and where do they hang out, right? So for Facebook, right, I find that it's more social and also a casual business, and it's very good for B2C, business to consumer. So meaning that you sell direct to end user. So if you see all those advertisements or Facebook Live that it shows products, right, and then they sell direct to end users, and it's super good if you are doing that kind of business, and or you are selling to direct business owners. So I know many of you that are out there, freelancers, solopreneurs, you are hanging out here in the Facebook as well, right? And so it's good if your target market are this group of people, right? And they're a little bit more casual in that sense, not prim and proper kind of thing, right? And the sharings, right, are mostly, we do, besides these Facebook live videos and all that, the sharings are mostly in words as well. Okay, why I mentioned that? Because we're going to compare with YouTube and Instagram later on, yeah, and also LinkedIn. So you'll find that some people will share, we can post a bit more articles or sharings, we can do postings in terms of more words, right? Whereas if you find that other platforms, they may be lesser words, right? So for example, YouTube. Now, YouTube is a social platform, and it's also a search engine, right? A lot of people, contrary to what people think, it's actually a search engine, but unlike Google, it's video, right? So it's very good for people who needs to do demonstrations, who need to share like this, the crowd is more general crowd, right? So you people who are looking for something, and they need to see how things work. They need to see things, how are things progressing, and step-by-step demonstration, teachings like this, and not just pictures or words. Sometimes instructions, right? It's very hard to follow words, but it's easier to follow a video, and you can pause, you can rewind, you can fast forward. So it's easier for that if you are doing that kind of business. Right? For LinkedIn, it's more for professionals, and for where you can find more professionals there, and you can find more middle to high management employees there, and the field is a little bit more business-like kind of transaction, and slightly more formal comparatively. Okay, comparatively, I'm not talking about formal like government kind of formal, but it's compared to Facebook, it's a little bit more formal. Now, it's very good for B2B, I find, right? So you're engaging, you're looking, if you're selling to other businesses, I think it's very good to find it there, right? And because even though there are half of it are employees, but they are the ones you want to talk to, because they are the decision maker or influencer, or that when I say influencer, not just the YouTube influencer, but they are the one who can influence the decision maker. Maybe they are the ones who present the proposal to the decision maker. So you want to find all these people there. So I find that it's quite good for B2B, right? And also if you are looking for more corporate clients, right, it's a very good platform for you, right? Okay, Instagram. Now, Instagram is more social, it's more picture and video oriented, and it's a relatively young crowd, 20 to 30s, and it's a very lifestyle, right? You see that people share about lifestyle, and the pictures they share, right? It's always so beautiful, and that's why that recent years, right? There's this term called whether Instagrammable, right? Yeah, because it's fit enough to go on Instagram, right? And it's very lifestyle as well, where I eat, that kind of where I travel, although we can't travel now, but then, that kind of stuff, what do I wear, the watches I wear, that kind of thing. And it's a bit more casual, relaxed feel as well. So you can, if you are selling B2C, you can do that as well. And if your items is you're selling products, right, which is a little bit, you need to see the beauty of it. I think Instagram is a very good platform for you, right? You are showing something that is beautiful, you for handcraft people who are doing art and craft, handmade stuff. I think Instagram, if you know how to take good pictures, or you can learn how to take pictures, right? Go to YouTube, you can find all sorts of videos on that. And I think Instagram is very good for businesses like that, right? Okay, next is also Google, right? Okay, Google, our good friend Google. I think we can't live without Google these days, right? It's primarily the first source of search. Now, it's linked quite closely to website after that. So you go to Google, usually we just go to Google and then type in what we search, and then our search results come out, and then you will find that and usually more often than not, it will link to your website, and where your website really can tell you who you really are and everything about you. So this is where website is where you can tell everything about you. In fact, people go to your website to find out more about you. So it's a matter of they have already decided they want to buy this product or this service, right? But it's just a matter of who they buy from, right? So they will go to the website to find out who you are, whether they should buy from you or not, right? So this is where Google comes in, and it's linked closely to your website. And from there, your website can do this selling. That's another issue, yeah? Now, when it comes to your website, it's a very holistic way of presenting who you are. So you tell them, your history if you need to. There's always a very nice history, story about where you come from, how the company originates. You can always relate to the audience at some point, right? And also, of course, you can do your shopping cart on your website and all. Yeah. So you need to know whether they buy from your website or not. Now, of course, then sometimes you may not be able to sell directly from your website. You maybe need a consultation. You need to see them to see what's the situation and propose a solution. Now, you can do email marketing, right? So some of your target audience, right? Your target market don't really buy from website or immediately. Email marketing, right, is a little bit different in that sense. It's a very special creature on its own. Now, some people say that it's dead because it has been going on for so long, and other platforms, the ones that I've just mentioned, they are coming up, right? So email marketing is old and doesn't work. But there's also another school of thought whereby email marketing still work, right? So yes or no, it will depend on your business and how you use email marketing. So email marketing, right, is primarily you can use it to grow a relationship with a potential client, or you maintain a relationship with the existing client and you can do it in an automated way. There's many software that is going on now that can easily subscribe at affordable pricing, whereby you can just do it in an automated way, which still can be quite personalized. Now, for email marketing is good in the sense that people, if they don't buy immediately, some people or their thinking process, their decision process may take a little bit longer, right? And sometimes your product or services may not be the kind whereby people just buy on the spot, right? And sometimes you need to, email marketing is good because people sometimes they buy after a while. So with email marketing, right, you develop a relationship, you show them, you can have a way to show them the various benefits of engaging your services or buying your product, how they can, how your product or services can help them to solve their problems. Remember, we talk about that a lot. In fact, this whole video is that, how you can link it. So instead of doing one-to-one, and it's a very physical, face-to-face, one-to-one, time-consuming and all that, right? And your target market may not have time for you. Email marketing is good in that sense. That's what I find, because sometimes after if you send them the email marketing, the videos on the bite size, on the various benefits, instead of rushing 1 hour presentation, right? And over time, they will buy from you, right? And because it has been said, human psychology is like this. I don't buy from you the first time I see you, but I may buy from you at the 5th contact or the 7th contact, right? And sometimes it's because I like email marketing because sometimes the buyer, your target market may not be ready at that point of time, but it doesn't mean they won't buy later on. So at the later point of time when they want to buy, because of your email marketing, your automated email marketing, you are at the top of their mind, and they will buy the first one they thought of when they are ready to buy. They will buy from you. So I think that's one thing that I will use email marketing for, right? The objective of using email marketing. Now, all this, right, you don't have to stick to one. You can use a combination of various, and or you don't just stick to one. You can combine Facebook with email marketing. You can combine YouTube with your YouTube and use LinkedIn at the same time, because LinkedIn is, now you cannot share a lot of videos over there. YouTube is a better platform because it's built for that. Right, so you can use different kind of combination depending on your products or your services. Right, so that's all I have for today. Right, I trust that you have learned at least one thing today. So let us know one thing that is you have learned, and also let us know what is the one thing that is blocking you from going further in your business journey, right? Usually it falls into one of these four categories, right? The first category is the sales, marketing, branding issue, right? That's the first category, the front, I call it the front of house, the so-called how you face outside people, the outside world. Another one is the internal, right, which is the admin operation issue, whether should you do in-house or should you outsource, right? And another third issue could be a people issue. So maybe should you do a partner? Should you get a partner in, or you have a team members issue? And of course, we should have a fourth category called others, right? Where if it doesn't fall into any of the three, it falls into the others. So what is your problem? Yeah, I thought about problems today, right? So I need to ask, what is your problem? Is it sales, marketing, branding? Is it admin or operation? Or is it a people issue? Or is it others issue? Right? Let us know. Right? Like, share, and follow us, and let us know what's your problem. And you can email us if you are shy about it. You can either put it in the comments box or you can email us. We'll solve your problem one way or another. Right? So that's all I have for today. Okay, I look forward to seeing you, and watch out for our next video. So remember to like, share, and follow us. Bye.